Hi. This is like the best angle that I could get for this video. My phone is charging, but it's like on the table, and the table's it's a desk table, a table that you do work things on. So it's appropriate for that height, but not for videos. I feel like I'm like talking down to you guys, so excuse me for that. But anyways, I wanted to try and make it better. Is that better? Sugar. I feel like it's not. I have like nail polish products holding up the phone. Okay. Yeah, so I wanted to recap my second week. I'm hoping that this video is shorter. I'm like really, really hoping that this video is shorter. So it should be clear in the title. If it's not, definitely revisit my first video. I'm doing a weekly vlog as I'm going through this after work program to help me with my eating disorder. So I deal with binge eating. It's been going on for a couple of years, and these types of videos, I try not to, and I don't think I really do, touch on like some of the more triggering or traumatic components of this. And I know that's subjective, what people go through in their experiences, but I want to make sure these are like accessible as possible. And while like those things are really important to dig into, I don't want to get like violation codes and stuff like that, community code, like whatever, community violations from YouTube for that type of stuff, because I don't want that to hinder people accessing content. And I don't know. I was thinking about that, and I haven't not shared anything, but I just wanted to put that out there. So, but yeah, if anyone is like, no, there's actually parts of your content that are like uncomfortable. Well, actually, there's a difference between uncomfortable and triggering. So, yeah. So like, just let me know. I'm totally open. And like I said, I want these to be accessible, and I don't want to make anyone uncomfortable to the point that it brings up their own stuff in a harmful way. But yeah, I mean, for some people that go through this or want to explore these programs, like I might be holding up a mirror, and so I want to be like aware of that. But anyhow, second week. So I wanted to recap my second week. This is like the one downside of only doing one video a week versus like aggregating daily check-ins, is that it's kind of hard to remember some of the stuff. Today is Sunday. I'm hoping that this video is shorter so that it can get processed, compressed, and uploaded quicker. So to either go up tonight, it's like 10:30 right now, so or Monday night. So they canceled group for Monday and Tuesday. I was the only one that could go. I have 3 women in my group, and the other 2 couldn't make it. So yeah, group is canceled, which is nice. I'm not gonna lie, right now it's nice. And I don't mean that because it's been bad. It's one of the first things I want to talk about tonight, is that honestly, y'all, I have been so tired. Today was the first day I woke up. I talk with my hands. So today was the first day I woke up and was like, I jolted out of bed. So I didn't necessarily get the most like gradual awakening and the most peaceful awakening, but like I was really excited about today. And I was like, all right, I feel like I've recovered from my week. So yeah, I mean, underlying my experience last week was like, I was just really freaking tired. Like just emotionally depleted. I had to really, I think I am a bit of an empath. Someone at work asked me that. I felt like I had to like give up part of myself, and like, I mean this in the best way, to help other people and to be mindful and to advocate for myself and to still have a good time and to be present. Which was difficult because I ended up getting like really spacey towards the end of the week. I just couldn't, but I really like depleted my energy trying to commit to my week last week, both in work and in the program. But it was harder with the program because I would just come home by the end of the day and be like, it's 5 o'clock. I have to go eat this food. Someone's going to watch me eat my food, and then we're going to do therapy. And it was just, I participated, I like got what I needed, but I was also just really spacey and tired. So that was kind of the thing. I'll go through each day. On Thursday, I elected to not go. So I don't know about other programs, but with this one, like they can't force you to go. I'm sure they have some sort of code around like skipping too many days in terms of your commitment to the program. But it hasn't come up yet. This is the first time that I actually did opted to not go to a session. Next week I have work stuff that I can't get out of that meets at 3, and that's when I have to leave the office. So that doesn't work out. But I'll just go talk about Thursday. So I was really tired, and I will admit, like, I still struggle with people watching me eat because I don't undereat. And that's what these programs are by and large really designed for, at least the one that I'm a part of. And I just wanted to enjoy my food in peace. And I was tired to the point where I didn't feel like I could really be present. And there wasn't really anything that I really wanted to talk about. Not in like avoiding anything, but I was just kind of like, I think I'm good today. Funny enough, on Friday, my therapist was like, well, that's the best time to do therapy. And, you know, when you feel like you don't have anything, that's when the good stuff comes up. And I think there is a time and place for that. And that's something I will be mindful of as I look to become a counselor. I'm getting my master's part-time in clinical mental health counseling. And I think like there are times to poke the bear and like try and get the client to dig a little deeper. But one of the things, I had a difficult conversation with my therapist 2 weeks ago, and she misinterpreted something, and she was like poking the bear when she should not have been. And one of the things I told her was that like, I feel like I don't get a break sometimes. Like I just want to, you know, have a session and just bitch about stuff, you know, or just vent or whatever. And I felt like she really robbed me of that opportunity during my session last week. And I was like, I just feel like I don't get any days off. Like I just feel like every now and then it's nice to just not dive in, you know, at a 45 degree angle into these intense therapy sessions. Like I just wanted a break. And she made a valid point, but I don't tend to shy away from stuff in therapy for the most part. I have one thing that it's taken me a while to talk to her about, and she's very aware of, but whatever. I'm paying for the sessions. No, that's like very toxic thinking. You should let your therapist do their job. But yeah, I just like wanted a break. I wanted to go get food that I had not had in a while. I didn't plan on binging. I didn't feel like binging, and I just didn't want someone to sit there and watch me eat. Like it was as simple as that. And one of the things that we talked about, and I'll go over like the stuff we did this week and like how it was beneficial, because that's one thing I really want to talk about, is that I hope by making these videos I can talk about like what I'm getting out of it, but also talk a little bit about some of the things that you could expect. And I've said this, I feel like people of color, women of color don't really talk about eating disorders. And so I want to make these videos so that when you're searching on YouTube, you see my little chocolate face and you're like, all right, this person kind of looks like me, hair optional. And, you know, like maybe I'll just listen to see what they have to say. So I really want to talk about like my experience, because I am getting a lot out of it. And so I do think programs like this can be really beneficial. So yeah. So on Thursday, I was like, Ansley, it's okay to be tired. I still have this all or nothing thinking. A lot of it is residual from my mood swings and being kind of all or nothing. And I had to realize that like, it's okay if I can't go every now and then. Like I was trying to make it perfect so that I didn't skip a day. And it was to the point where I was like, you know, you're letting yourself down if you don't go. And while I do think sometimes when I am tired during the week, it's like, Ansley, if you go home, you're going to take a nap. Like, yes, that's when I'm shortchanging myself. But I just felt like I really needed to just take a moment and be like, it's okay to be tired. You don't have to have a 2-week streak with doing this. Like, it's okay. No one's, you know, keeping score. So yeah, I just wanted to, and I told my therapist, I was like, I wanted to eat my food and I didn't want people watching me. And I have like tried to deal with it every other day, but I was like, no, this is basically my Friday, even though Friday I had stuff to do all day for work. It's like, I just need to chill. So that was Thursday. All right. So things we talked about this week. So on the first day, do I have it with me? Oh yeah, I do. So the first night we did some art therapy. I was the only one that night. Yeah, I was the only one that night. So we talked about, we did some art therapy, and I'm going to show you guys what I put together, my little art stuff. So we took this piece of paper and divided it up into 4 quadrants. So on here should depict stuff that like I think I am. Here are things that I think I am not. Here are things I wish I want to be. And here are things that I used to be. So I will tell you, like, art therapy gets a little funky because you can learn a lot about yourself in like a very meta way, or it can be like, why the hell are we doing this? And so I do believe there is power in art therapy, but I also tend to think that I feel like I overthink these things. Because I was thinking about making this meaningful, but I really just, as I was explaining everything, like more stuff was coming out than I thought there would be. And I was like, okay, I'm actually tired from scrapbooking, and I wasn't expecting that. And the therapist is like, yeah, art therapy can get you like that sometimes. So I would encourage anybody, even if it's not like proper art therapy, to maybe look on, like, Google online different creative or like art therapy prompts and just try out whether it's like coloring, collaging, painting, and all that stuff. You might actually learn a little bit, teensy weensy bit about yourself. But yeah, so I am not going to go through all of the super deep stuff that I wrote, but some of the things for the I am section is like, I'm improving, I'm giving, I'm speaking my mind, I'm starting over, this is restorative, I feel inspired, trying to be a little bit more of a ray of sunshine. Although we did talk about like how obnoxious just optimism can be sometimes. But anywho, like trying to have more of like a flavorful, a zesty sense of life, we'll call it that way. And then things that I wish that I was. So I want to like find my path. I'm trying to open up to the universe, try new things. This says unbox my joy, and focus more on continuing to give and continuing to serve. So like things like these videos and Instagram kind of, and like getting back into blogging. I feel like that's going to be really important for me. So yeah. Oh, and this one is like also now you see me. So I have struggled to take up space in the past, and along with my intense reset, I want to like take up space, and that's something that I can like do a separate video on, because it's kind of hard to describe, but I think it's just like mentally, do I think of myself like big or small? Not like weight or size or anything, but like, do I shrink myself down? Do I invalidate myself? Do I anchor myself to my insecurities, or do I create a space for me to thrive and grow? And like talk about all the badass stuff that I do, because people are quick to like remind me of that, and I don't really value it a lot of the time. I was actually at a women's empowerment brunch today, happy International Women's Day, and this complete stranger, we were talking about the 6 types of biases that occur, like gender biases that occur between men and women and how they affect women. And I actually knew of this person because she has a Facebook group, but she didn't know me. And so we were talking, and just like by me sharing the stuff I had to share, she was like, I think, and like it shows like one of your natural gifts is being able to speak up in a way that people will listen to you. And I told her thank you. I really appreciated that. I do think I try hard to take difficult topics and talk about them in a relatable way that not only helps me to validate my experience, but helps me to think about it in a way where I can try and provide a perspective that people can better relate to. I think we all go through things that are deeply personal to our own experiences and feel unique because they are. But I also think in wanting to connect and serve other people that sometimes you kind of have to oftentimes you have to pull yourself back from that and think about, how can I talk about this in a way that's going to resonate with other people? And that's a skill that I've had to learn in wanting to enter this coaching mental health like servant realm and really think about how I can be better at using some of my natural talents to help people in a way that is authentic, relatable, open, and real. And that was just like a really nice thing for her to say. I was like, okay, I spent like 15 minutes with this woman and she had something nice to say. So for the things that I am not, I put shopping. Oh, okay. I put shopping because I struggle with shopping. Like, I'm not my habits. I'm not pure stress anymore. I like, in this all or nothing, I am quickly over things, like very quickly, just like, F it, nope, goodbye. So I try not to be that way. I also have the word this and the word behind, like whatever I'm in the moment, whether it's depressed, manic, happy, sad, angry, those are all fleeting states and they're not permanent. And, you know, every day I wake up and it's like, well, you know, yesterday didn't, you know, get me down, you know, yes, like, how do I say this in a non-offensive way? Like, I survived the day before. That's like the most PC way to say it. So whatever I'm going through, it's not permanent. I mean, in the moment when you're going through something that doesn't feel great, it feels like it's forever. And I sometimes feel like when things are positive, we challenge how long they will last. So I just put that one on there. And behind, like, in life, in my business interests, it can often feel like I am super behind and I'm not. So I also put less, little, and everything. So when I in the past am more manic, and I am like, I used to be all over the place before I got better about like stuff. So like getting on the right medication, setting boundaries, being really intentional about how I spend my time. And I would do like 800 things in a day. Like, I did more than the average person. And I work with some high potential, hypo people. And it was like, I think it brought up insecurities in other people, like how much shit I could get done in a day. But I was manic and unhealthy and not well, and not like a stable person. So I don't want to live that way anymore. I would rather do less in life and be fulfilled. And while I think overall that's great, like, I struggle with my business because it's like, what are the one or two things I want to work on this month, this year, whatever, because I'm so used to being like, well, here's the 26 things I did today, what's up? Tomorrow we're doing 27, you know. And then the last thing that I have for used to be is nothing. So with that, everything, these are actually a part of like the same thing. So the nothing was just, how do I describe this? Like, it didn't, when I was going through those things, like, I wasn't really ever present in life. And I didn't take up a lot of space. And I didn't really value myself all that much. And so, I mean, there's probably deeper meaning there, but for the most part, that's what that's about. And then for this, like, darker colors, a darker mood in a really dark place, so in terms of just like where content, I'm spending way too much time. In terms of content, like, I'm very good about thinking of great things about myself and also having aspirations. I struggled with this side because I felt like there is a thin line between the not and used to be and like how I am now. I still feel like I embody some of these things, but they don't define my personality. And it was just harder to think of those things because it's like, am I really not this anymore? And that might be a little too literal, but I don't define my personality based on these things. And like the color here is just a lot darker. So anywho, that's what we did for art therapy. I was exhausted after that because like we went through that very quickly, but I spent like 20 minutes going over this. And the therapist was like, okay. Taking her notes, and I was like, I didn't mean to do all this when I put this together. So yeah, so we did art. I'm gonna show you guys. We did art therapy, and then let's see. On Tuesday, we talked about two things: cognitive distortions and overly optimistic people were the two things that we talked about. And so I'll start with the optimism one. It was interesting because we were, as a group, talking about whether we were realist, optimist, or pessimist. And I am definitely a realist. I am definitely a realist in just like everyday things. And that really helps me because if I'm having a mood swing, I can be like hot or cold, optimist, pessimist. What I want to separate from that is that I tend to be very hopeful, and I don't think that's optimistic. I think there's just some part of me that won't entirely give up. Not necessarily because I feel like I have this bright future ahead, and that might sound dark, but because I know that whatever I'm going through, like, this is not it. There literally has to be more than this bullshit. Like, this is not it. And that's what generally keeps me going. Even like when I'm really depressed, I still maintain that attitude because I know that this is not it. So I think I am more of a realist, to be honest. At one point in time, especially with work, I was very bitter. And it was even hard for me to like get out of bed to come to work every day just because I was just bitter and like mad at the world. But I think now I'm like, okay, being a realist helps me to keep my emotions in check. I'm not going to talk about what the other people shared. But one thing that was interesting is that we talked about how our view of optimism changes over time. And it's interesting to think about because if you think about children and how like they're so pure. I'm not the biggest fan of kids. I'm not going to lie. I'm like, about children. And that's a whole other thing. I'm not saying like if you have kids, I hate your kids or anything. That's not it. I'm just kind of like, So anyways, regardless of how I feel, one thing that I pointed out is that like we value how happy children are and how if they want to be an astronaut, like they're going to be a fucking astronaut, you know, or if they want to be a princess, that's it. If they want to wear their galoshes when it's 80 degrees outside, you can't tell them nothing. And it's so pure how happy they are. And just like the world doesn't get them down because they don't really experience the world. You know, they're not adults. And it's so pure, and we love that about kids. Like that's why we like to be around children. But when you get older and like life is supposed to happen to you and people are optimistic, you're like, either you're not really based in reality right now or your life is so privileged that things don't affect you. And that's just generally how we like to look at things, I believe, and feel like maybe those people just don't have all their marbles upstairs, or, you know, like they're just not like the world is a horrible place and they're just like not living in this like, trash dumpster fire that we're all experiencing on a day-to-day basis. But then the other woman in my group, someone didn't show up. The other woman in my group talked about, she works with women that have come out of the prison system, and she was like, these women have gone through some like horrible shit and they're so grateful for like the little things, and they have a positive outlook on life and they've gone through some stuff. And so like, where do we like draw the line on optimism? How do we better value it? Like, for example, the woman was talking about like, it's like a blessing to her that when she gets sick, she can go in her kitchen and get some orange juice. Like, be in her home with that kitchen and get something to drink. That was not something she was easily and readily able to do in prison. And so it just really made me stop and think, you know, it's like either you're a child or you've gone through some like tough shit. And that's the only way that we really value optimism. Because anything else is just like, do you see how everything is on fire right now? Like, why are you smiling? So that was the other thing we talked about. That was the first thing we talked about. So the other thing that we talked about was cognitive distortions. And if you don't know what that is, so this is not going to sound nice, but it's basically the things that you do in your mind to warp the reality that's like actually happening. Like, no, you're not crazy, but your brain is going to a place outside of like what is actually going on. And we do it, I believe, as a defense mechanism to validate negative things that we either feel about ourselves, how we project onto other people, how we struggle to deal with the things we struggle with. So some of these can be like all or nothing thinking, over like exaggerating generalizations, a comparison trap. It's based on CBT, which is, cognitive behavioral therapy. There's like 10 or 12 of them. And I have a worksheet. I can't post it online though. But if you Google it, there's a lot of them. Or like always expecting the worst outcome. And so we talked about like being more aware of it. And I used to be really, really bad about this. And over time, not because I'm like, oh, I'm generalizing right now. Like I don't really think about it that way, but I just try to be like more mindful, like see the good in the things that I'm doing. I will take a step back and try and ask myself if I have proof for this, or like telling yourself stories without having all the information is another one that I struggle with. So it's taken a lot of work. Like I said, I don't have a running list of all of them in my mind. I'm just very aware, like when I'm thinking based on emotion and not necessarily completely about, like logic and being rational about stuff. That's really what it comes down to. So we talked about the distortions and then ways to untwist your thinking. One thing, it might not be CBT, it might be DBT. My therapist was talking about like, if you're freaking out about something, actually stop and think about the worst thing that could happen. And that might seem counterintuitive because it might bring up some negative feelings. But if you actually think through the worst case scenario, you might stop and be like, that's not gonna happen. So let me pull it back. Another one that my therapist said was, or like the group therapist said was good, was to actually write down all of your negative emotions, just to like help get it out of your body. What's another one? Asking yourself like what's actually factual about like whatever's going on. Oftentimes not a lot. But yeah, like similar to the number of distortions they have an equal number of like things to think about. So I would just encourage you to Google cognitive distortions and it'll pull up like a ton of information. But it really does, even if you don't remember the laundry list that that there are of these, it really does help you think about how that type of thinking negatively impacts you. Yes, you can project onto other people, but it's really like all in your mind. And one of the things like I shared was that's a lot of wasted energy because I really like plan for the worst case scenario. And I told the therapist I do it, I think, as a defense mechanism so that if I'm prepared for the worst, I can better control my emotions if that should happen. And for me, I was like, when that happens. And it's like, no, that might not actually happen. Let's take a step back. So I am trying to get better about not preparing, like being aware of it, but not just like defaulting to the worst. Because I make up stories all the time and then they don't happen. And I'm like, I just wasted days worth of sleep and stress, like trapped in my body because I was thinking that something was going to happen and it did not. So there is some benefit to being more aware of these things. And as we can work on like being more present and more mindful, you will actually notice how much energy you might get back from untwisting your thinking. Okay, so the last thing we talked about was setting intentions. And this is something I actually started to do Friday? no, Thursday. I did it on Thursday. I didn't do it Friday. I didn't do it Saturday. And today I did it on Sunday. So we talked about just setting intentions, and it helps you to be more mindful and more present in the moment. And she said some other stuff, but what I want to talk about is the fact that I used to be so task oriented, and I'm in this kind of gray area right now, but now I'm trying to move into a go with the flow situation where at work we talk about outcome orientation. So it's less about the individual things you have to do, because yes, those are important, but you actually stop first and think about what do you want when you do everything, whatever that is, what do you want to have it look like at the end? And they can be more tactical, but they also should be broad enough that it's not like only one solution potentially could fix this. So for example, with me, and like I said, we do this at work, and that's just a different space. But with me, on Thursday, I told myself I wanted to, like my goals for the day were to have a voice, to empower others, and to have fun at work. So like those are three very broad goals, and I didn't tell, like, you don't tell yourself necessarily how you're going to do it. You just keep an open mind and try to be receptive to opportunities as they come. And like you can't necessarily be like that with everything, but like you try and just be more open. So some things like you have to do, and where can you let go with other things that are more subjective or open for discussion about how you accomplish the things. So like one of the things that my first thing was like having a voice. I knew I had some difficult meetings, and I just had to tell myself that I was like trying to rehearse what I was going to say. We all do this, whatever. I was trying to rehearse what I was going to say, and I told myself that in the moment, I will just do what I think will be the most authentic thing that I can do. And I actually was in a meeting with one of my new teams. I'm aligned to 3 teams now. And one of the things I just said was like, you know what? In the spirit of being very vulnerable, I've been really struggling with joining a team where there are people that already have experience with something that I am just learning about. And that's exactly what I said. Like I was trying to not use those words and kind of open up, but not directly express my concern, and especially not in front of the whole group. You don't want to necessarily give off signs of weakness, And I was just like, you know what, fuck it. I'm just I was struggling too much to do that dance, and I just said what I had to say. And everyone was really receptive. They're like, thank you. And people, like, I thought a couple of the people on the in the group weren't going to be as receptive, and they really changed my opinion of them, just how open they were, and the fact that like we are coming together as a new team, so the things that worked in the past, like they're open for discussion, and we should really think about what's going to fit with our group. And it actually gave another woman on the team that's also joining to speak up and be like, I'm actually really concerned about this too. So I was like, not only did I give myself a voice, but I empowered other people, which is one of the other things I wanted to talk about and like accomplish for the day. And I didn't know that was, I couldn't plan for that, right? Like that was very in the moment, based on an in the moment decision that I made. So that was really cool. And then at work, let me think, my friend wasn't there. The admin and I are super tight. But my other friend was there. And so I just made it a point to, like, I try and do every day, but be more present. Have fun. I don't know. Just like talk with people. Like I want to feel good at the end of the day. Yes, I'm like stressed about stuff, but I don't want to like freak out about it. And I just want to like kick it with the homies. Like I have some homies on my team. And I felt like, as tired as I was, like I felt good about my day. And I felt like I made an effort to be present and to just like do my thing. I'm very likable at work. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. Like it can deplete me, but I make an effort to really, because I want to, and I want to be myself, like to have friends, to ask people about their weekend, to, just like, kick it bullshit sometimes. Like it's all good. I like my team. But I knew because I was tired that like I could shut down and just like keep to my cube and not talk to anybody. So I really wanted to make an effort to talk to my work friends. So what I've been doing, I downloaded an app called Mindfulness Plus. And so they have a component where you can actually select intentions and also write your own. And there's like a bit of like reflection in there with some of their prompts. So I tried that out this morning, and I did some meditation yesterday. Yes, and today. So I am trying to work on that. And it's one of those things that takes practice, and you actually have to like sit down and think about it. But I do think there is some power in being focused around, I might not know how I'm going to accomplish this, but these are the things I want to be left with, and being open to what that looks like. Like all the time we plan our day and it doesn't go that way. And so if we can be open around like, and really think about our core values, I feel like if I can continue to practice this, I will get more out of my day and honestly more out of life. If I really focus on the things that matter, and I think setting intentions is a very direct way of doing that. So yeah, that was that was Wednesday. Thursday. It was Thursday. So I didn't go to group on like Thursday night. And then the other thing I want to talk about is just like how my eating has been. And then some hobbies that I picked up. So we'll do the hobbies first. I've been more intentional about just like better use of my free time, I guess you could say. So one of the things I've been super interested in, and I have a catalog of Facebook videos to back it up, is nail art. Like, I'm obsessed. So I actually ordered a nail art kit like a week ago because I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to do this. It's creative. It's something I'm interested in. It'll get me outside of myself. It'll kill some time. So over the weekend, I painted my nails, this like fun flower spring theme. And I love it. And the reason why I don't get my nails painted is because I paint them every week and I know how to do it. But also with nail art, as expensive as it is, like, I'm ready to take this off and do something new, and I've had it on for 3 days. So it just gives me the freedom to just change my nails whenever. But I'm so excited, and I was like, I'm just gonna honor the fact that I've been wanting to do this for like 2 years. So we're gonna do it now. And I just like, it's creative expression, and I really like being creative. And I think continuing to strive for different areas of creativity in my life will help me in a lot of ways. So that's what I did. The other thing is that I've actually started cooking again, and I know how to cook. I just don't like doing it. I don't find it interesting, but I will say, cooking things has made me more interested in it than I have been in the past. So, yeah, I made some really good food, and I don't necessarily want to like talk about the food component because I don't know, people watching this might struggle with eating, so I don't really want to like go into the specifics. But I was like, God damn, like, your girl can cook. She just doesn't care to, and I need to it would benefit me, and I did enjoy myself cooking, so I'm trying to slowly get back into it. And then, yeah, so those are the two things that I was like, all right, I feel like, yeah, like it puts me in a better mood. I feel like I've done something healthy for myself, and yeah, we'll use it as a segue to talk about how my eating has been. So, in being a realist / pessimist, like a little tinge of pessimism, my mood has been really stable for the past 2 weeks. Not to say there have been moments of like intense anxiety and stress where I was like, where the chips at? Where's the chocolate? But like outside of that, I haven't really wanted to binge specifically. I am noticing that I do overeat, and that's similar, but let's be honest, it is different. It is really, really different, and I can do a separate video to talk about the difference. But I feel like that's a specific topic that if people like are looking for that information, I don't want to embed it in one of these videos. So I did notice that I still overeat, and one thing I want to work on this week in therapy and group, for the 2 days that I'm there, is like ways to deal with that. With having weight loss surgery, I can't really eat or drink. I mean, I can't really drink too much after I eat, so I can't like pad my meal with water before and after. Well, I can before, but not after. So just trying to think through kind of like still what's going on in my mind that drives me to want to overeat. So yeah, that was happening. I didn't binge. I didn't feel really the need to. I do think consistent eating throughout the day has really helped like my mind not be like, well, your food was all over the place, so let's just dive into this whole medium-sized pizza. If I'm constantly eating all day, it's like I'm actually full from all the food that I've been eating, and I don't feel the need to sit here and go to town. But I also think my mood has been like really, really stable. So I have tiny eyes. So I like, and I told my therapist, I was like, I recognize my mood is really stable and I don't know how long this will last. So I am going to take advantage of it and like teach myself and demonstrate to myself that like I can get this better under control. So yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. I also haven't ordered like proper takeout in 2 weeks, which is awesome. I did do some frivolous shopping, which is not food related, but I might be getting a phone call or two about that, about all that shopping, but whatever. I went out to brunch today and I didn't feel the need to like get a whole bunch of food. I got some light options and people were ordering entrees and I was like, I'll piece together some sides. That feels right. I didn't want to load too much onto my tum-tum. But yeah, I mean, my food has been going really, really well, which is really encouraging. But part of me is like, when your mood swings happen, will this be the same? And you know, only time will tell. So yeah, the other thing, like outside of cooking, is that I am still trying to like switch up, like try new things and switch up the things that I'm eating. So I do have some snack bins of just like random kitty snacks that I had growing up. And so just keeping options around has really been helpful. And I think that's it. I think that is it. I do need to work on my water consumption when I'm home, because I just don't drink a lot of water and I can like really feel it. And then the other thing is that I have been making some healthier substitutions. So I used to use like a dairy-based creamer, and I've switched to a almond milk one, and it's delicious, but also like way better for me. So the things I want to work on this week, I don't have group for 2 days. I have stuff for school, but I also want to continue to like carve out time for meditation and mindfulness. So I am going to try and start waking up a little bit earlier again and doing some of those things. Today I dabbled in some skincare, so getting back into that. And so yeah, like waking up an hour before I have to get ready should really do the trick. And so I'm going to, it's like 11 o'clock now. I do want to get in bed. I don't think I'm going to be in bed before like 11:30 midnight. And I have to lead a panel tomorrow on mental health and wellness. So I actually want to be well rested for that. At this point, it's not looking good. So I'm going to try and get up around like 4:35. And yeah, like I'm feeling really optimistic. I don't know if I'll get a workout in tomorrow before I go to work. I do think I would like to work out in the mornings. That's generally the best for me, but I don't think that's going to work with my schedule. So I'm still trying to work on working out at night. But yeah, so I hope this was helpful. Yeah. I hope like somebody got something out of this, and I will continue to make these for as long as I am in the group. And yeah, if you do want to chat more about these things, like feel free to hit me on the Instagram, and we can just like DM, or like I'm happy to just like set up a call and stuff like that. I do really want to help like people and people of color and women of color. Like we have these issues and we should feel comfortable getting help for them, and other issues that we have or things that we're struggling with. Like it's cool to go to therapy, guys. It's a pretty sick, awesome thing to do. So, yeah. All right. I'm going to end it, and I don't know what's going to happen. You know what? I really want to get this up tonight, and I'm just going to not, so I can go to sleep, and hopefully this will be up on Monday. So tomorrow. All right, guys, I will talk to you later. Good night, or happy noon, or good morning, whenever you're watching this. And yeah, bye.